Good evening. On this third day of the third month, we have 2020 vision on what should be topping your news agenda. Here's a taste.
Tonight, the simmering disquiet between the DCI and DPP over KPA Graft case laid bare in court.
The DPP gave directions that he needs to independently review this file. I brought this person with a charge sheet, which I thought would be registered.
KPA boss Daniel Manduku walks as a result.
I do not believe in pretrial detentions myself. So we let them walk and then we will see who has contradicted who, and then we can move forward.
Also tonight, leaders call for government intervention as tension grows along Kenya-Somalia border in Mandera.
What we were doing as members of parliament is parliamentary diplomacy. 11
MPs who travel to Somalia off the hook.
All members are reminded to always abide by the provisions of Standing Order number 260, requiring members traveling outside Kenya, whether in official or private capacity, to always notify the office of the Speaker.
Plus, the filthy eyesore of deliberately dumped garbage on Nairobi streets. It's all about the scramble for the capital.
Tunaelewa Gavana Sonko ni nani. Yeye ni mtu ya vipindire na sarakasi.
That motion will be dead on arrival today. We had the numbers, we had the communication from the president, and today was our best day.
And government suspends flights from Italy to guard Kenya from deadly virus.
We are confident that if a case were to appear today, Kenya will be able to identify it quickly and will be able to diagnose it quickly.
Coronavirus saves taxpayers money as MP's trip to New York is called off.
Live from the Nation Centre, this is NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi and Mark Masai.
Thanks so much for joining us. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa.
To our top story, in what could be a major setback in the war against graft, the camaraderie between the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations appears to be over. The two have fiercely clashed in court over a corruption case at the Kenya Ports Authority.
Now, whereas detectives from the DCI arrested and presented Daniel Manduku in court to plead to corruption-related charges, prosecutors stated that the DPP had not approved the charges.
In the end, the court freed the embattled CEO and ordered the graft warriors to put their houses together, or in order, beg your pardon. Setolale witnessed the dramatic proceedings at the Milimani Law Courts.
The simmering rift between the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations over a KPA graft case has been laid bare in court. KPA CEO Daniel Manduku, arrested on Monday, and his co-accused Kevin Lewis Safari, KRA's Commissioner of Customs and Border Control, were on Tuesday brought before the court to take plea. But the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions failed to acknowledge the charge sheet produced by DCI.
The DPP gave directions that he needs to independently review this file. And subsequently I did a letter, and the IOZ was aware. And the DPP further directed that they should be given police bond awaiting the directions of the DPP. So I'm actually surprised that you are canvassing this particular issue right now before you.
And when the investigating officer attempted to make a point,
I brought this person with a charge sheet, which I thought would be registered. And
Prosecutor, just hold on there. Prosecutor, do you have any charge sheet?
His request was denied. Then Manduku's lawyers requested the court to free the two, arguing that there were no authoritative charges against them.
I do not believe in pretrial detentions myself. So we let them walk and then we will see who has contradicted who, and then we can move forward. Yes.
As a free Manduku walked outside the Milimani Law Courts, the DCI and ODPP both vowed to flex muscles. Insiders have told NTV that they will now seek President Uhuru Kenyatta's intervention on the matter. This is not the first time the two graft warriors appear to be clashing over cases involving graft at KPA. DCI has publicly expressed his displeasure with the ODPP on the manner in which he has been handling KPA case files.
We have investigated several cases, and there are those already which are in court, and there are those already we are anticipating that for the approval of the DPP for the criminals to be taken to court.
The embattled CEO is also being probed in a 1.4 billion scandal involving illegal procurement and installation of barriers at the Makongeni shed, as well as upgrading of the Kisumu port. DCI has questioned high-ranking politicians and leaders over their involvement in the alleged scams. Operations at the Kenya Ports Authority are still being coordinated by the embattled CEO, who has been under investigations for the last 6 months. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, embattled former Sports Cabinet Secretary Rashid Echesa now wants the Directorate of Criminal Investigations compelled to reinstate his firearms license and return his seized motor vehicles.
Echesa moved to court just a day after a search at his Karen home resulted in the confiscation of 4 vehicles. Brenda Wanga traces the beginning of the end for Echesa.
Rashid Echesa is far removed from the trappings and seeming protection that came with the occupation of a cabinet secretary position.
The first accused person you want to put as an ordinary Kenyan in the village, living on the street of Nairobi, is a former minister in government. He had been grounded.
That cloak of protection first coming into play when he was plucked from grassroots politics in Kakamega
I, Rashid Echesa Mohammed,
to a seat at the table in the country's executive. The first hurdle for the village boy, as Echesa once described himself, was to explain away his academic credentials.
I found it difficult because my mom and my father were really struggling for the ends to meet, and they were even unable to pay school fees for my siblings, Mr. Speaker, and myself.
But perhaps the biggest one for the appointee then was accusations leveled against him by one Esther Kabura.
We received one affidavit sworn by one Esther Kabura of
Kabura, a widow, had complained that Echesa had tricked her into surrendering 3 high-end vehicles to him in the aftermath of her husband Patrick Akifuma's death in 2016.
On that petition, Mr. Speaker, I was only a witness to the sale agreement, Mr. Speaker.
However, in a letter sent to Parliament on the 5th of February 2018, and one that helped clear the then appointee, the DCI said, and I quote, "Investigations were commenced with the view of establishing the truth. It was established that indeed the said motor vehicles were given to Rashid Mohammed following a disagreement between the complainant and the family of her late husband, who wanted to deprive her of their properties, which included the motor vehicles. On the strength of that clearance, the most unlikely candidate for cabinet was approved. But that endorsement from the DCI has come back to bite Echesa, now fallen out of favor with the powers that be."
Are you under arrest?
I'm not under arrest. This is all politics. This matter was there in 2016, even when I was being vetted.
The saying that when it rains, it pours couldn't ring more true for the former boxer turned politician. And now, Rashid Echesa will have to dig deep into that bag of tricks as he tries to punch his way out of the current predicaments he finds himself in. Brenda Wanga, NTV, Nairobi.
The High Court has reviewed Embakasi East MP Babu Owino's bail terms downwards to a 5 million shilling cash bail from 10 million shillings, a move likely to cause uproar over the handling of the attempted murder case.
Now, the ruling by Justice Luka Kimaru has given leeway to Babu Owino in settling DJ Evolve's hospital bill only as a moral obligation, meaning that he may decide not to if he wishes. The accused MP has since deposited 4.4 million shillings to the court.
Many are now questioning the manner in which Babu's case has been handled, from unprecedented bail installments to his payment of the hospital bill.
DJ Evolve continues to receive treatment, with his bill accruing every single day. The case will be mentioned on the 20th of March. All right, politics and the Building Bridges initiative has been hailed as the cure for all that ails Kenya, an avenue through which Kenya can put its sordid past behind it and start afresh.
But as all are exhorted to jump onto the bandwagon, is it now being used to sanitize criminal behavior? Olive Burrows attempts to answer that question.
Inatoa madoadoa yote, inatoa uchafu wote, ndio itakupatia what you are looking for. Apenji.
Nobody can stop reggae.
If you know, you know. And in the game of politics, you not only have to know people, you have to know the right people. Particularly when you've made a mess of things. Kikinuka, and the stench becomes so overpowering that even the hangers-on can't stand it. You make a pilgrimage to the house on the hill, hat in hand, hoping that one cycle through the washer will, as advertised, ngarisha na mosho moja. And a once tainted image returned to you nyeupe kama pamba, white as snow, your sins forgiven. As penance, you join the choir, making sure to position yourself front and center for all to see, innocence by association, and proceed to sing the party line, loud and clear, a charismatic convert.
Asanteni sana, wananchi power!
The nature of the sin is irrelevant. Slap on some BBI branding and all is forgiven. No longer are you a pariah. Regardless of whether you stand accused of murdering your 26-year-old lover, heavy with your child, or shooting an unarmed DJ in the neck for kicks and giggles. You can simply dance away your troubles. After all, even Jesus associated with tax collectors and sinners, governors who collect taxes, then proceed to shamelessly flaunt their thieving ways and their garish taste. You are the company you keep, your mother told you, so be careful with whom you associate, lest their errant ways reflect poorly on you. But the political class plays by a different set of rules. They lose no sleep over getting into bed with thieves and murderers as long as it serves their interests. For all their finger-pointing and proclamations that corruption makes their skin crawl, their actions tell a very different story. And now we're living in a handshake amnesty republic. All it takes for your past wrongs to be forgiven is a meeting of the palms. Receive your pardon and you can be assured of weaseling your way back into the public's good graces and an assured place in public office. Those charged with upholding integrity, developing a case of amnesia. As with the electorate at the ballot, once the emotions are whipped and you have the high priest's endorsement, your sickening character notwithstanding. After all, the festering smell of rot isn't so bad after it's been cloaked in the BBI. Olive Burrows, NTV.
The fight against graft. It has now emerged that at least 3 unknown men were in the home of the late Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei, leading to the day his body was found.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigations also says that data from Sergeant Kenei's phone had also been deleted by an accomplice working for a leading mobile service provider.
Mel Miendo has more on Sergeant Kenei's mysterious death.
DCI detectives say they can now authoritatively confirm that Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei was indeed murdered. Through phone triangulation, detectives say they have traced 3 unidentified men said to have been in Sergeant Kenei's house, leading to the day his body was found. Detectives believe that the 3 had an accomplice from a leading mobile service provider who helped in flashing Kenei's phone and deactivating his social media accounts. The data has been retrieved and will be used by detectives as evidence.
Data from Kenei's phone show that he last spoke to his wife. This was on the night of 18th February, a call that lasted only 53 seconds. Now, detectives believe that Kenei may have known his killers were about to finish him. And now the focus is on identifying and prosecuting these 3 hit men.
The 3 are believed to have been regular visitors at DP Ruto's Harambee House office. They're also alleged to have visited a senior official before and after former Sports Cabinet Secretary Rashid Echesa's visit in the presence of 2 foreign investors. Kenei was killed a day before he was to present himself at the DCI headquarters to record a statement with the Serious Crime Unit over the use of Harambee Annex by Echesa in the fraudulent military arms tender deal. Detectives believe Kenei was privy to sensitive information owing to his position as head of security at Harambee House Annex, and that he may have fallen out with some of his colleagues. From the onset, detectives treated his death as murder, but investigations were inconclusive at the time. It was after an autopsy on February 26th that detectives revisited the crime scene together with pathologists for more clues. Mel Miendo, NTV.
Now, the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has cautiously let off the hook 11 MPs accused of visiting a foreign nation discreetly, only reminding them that their first allegiance is to Kenya.
Speaker Muturi has also called them out for not having notified his office of the travel, as is stipulated in the standing orders. NTV's senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi has more.
Furor has been building over the Somali trip made by 11 MPs in what pundits have said amounts to treason.
When citizens, senior citizens, begin to behave in a certain way, it's not called betrayal or cheating on me. It is called espionage. It is called treason.
Beseech you to behold.
Tuesday afternoon, Speaker Justin Muturi, in his communication to the House, exonerated the MPs from any wrongdoing, but called them out for not having informed his office.
All members are reminded to always abide by the provisions of Standing Order number 260, requiring members traveling outside Kenya, whether in official or private capacity, to always notify the office of the Speaker.
What we were doing as members of Parliament is parliamentary diplomacy.
A parliamentary delegation is constituted in a manner that reflects the different shades of political parties in the House, gender, regional balance, among other considerations. In this regard, the alleged visit by the said group of members of this House to the Republic of Somalia was not a parliamentary delegation.
It has been claimed that the MPs met Somalia's intelligence chiefs during the trip, but they insist they only met President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, and they had the blessings of President Uhuru Kenyatta, whom they visited at State House on 24th February.
And when we visited State House, they said, look for homegrown solutions, look for answers on how we can be able to confront Al-Shabaab. And where is the origin of Al-Shabaab?
They are really waiting for President Uhuru Kenyatta to give them a date so that they could actually brief him on what transpired between them and President Farmajo, even insisting that they did not meet anybody else other than the president, and they have his goodwill message to President Uhuru Kenyatta.
You start with the top level of leadership. You don't go to NIS, neither do you go to Somalia security agencies. We thought the best option is to engage His Excellency Farmajo.
But as this unfolds, Mandera County government leadership has now asked staff to stay away from office for their own security.
Mandera County is not a battleground for any militias whatsoever, for foreign militias.
The Council of Governors has also warned over escalating tensions, calling on the national government to swiftly deal with the security threat. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV.
Still on that issue, Ken Mijunga is hosting a panel discussion on the crisis in the north. The discussion will shed light on what is happening in the northeast and also touch on the legislator's visit to Somalia, why and if the Foreign Affairs Ministry is angry, and what could possibly have been the benefit of that trip.
Professor Peter Kagwanja of the Africa Policy Institute, former presidential advisor Abdul Kadir Mohammed, and Horn of Africa expert Rashid Abdi will be on Sidebar tonight straight after the news, so do be sure to join Ken for that. All right. Excuse me. Two other stories. This morning, residents of Nairobi woke up to the sights of spilling garbage on major streets within the city centre.
And actually, a bit of the stench could make you cough, just like that. Those privy to just what happened blame the top leadership of the county, saying they might have been angered by the takeover of key functions by the national government.
Silas Apollo reports that problems facing Governor Mike Sonko could be far from over, despite the temporary respite that he got on Monday.
Nairobi residents were greeted by the repulsive sight of garbage strewn all over the central business district. Insiders at City Hall link it to Governor Mike Sonko, who they say is protesting the move by President Uhuru Kenyatta to take over functions of the county. Cleaners from City Hall cleared the mess after protest from residents.
Tunaelewa Governor Sonko ni nani. Yeye ni mtu ya vipindire na sarakasi. Impeachment motions are live before the assembly. It's a fact we have grounds. It's a fact we have particulars of impeachment. It is a fact we are going to impeach Sonko.
The MCA's assertion comes despite a court order barring the process temporarily. Governor Sonko rushed to court early Monday in a bid to stop the Nairobi County Assembly from debating the impeachment motion, which was tabled last week.
Kama ni threshold ya 42 tulipata. Tukapata 55. Ikawa verified. Tukaweka notice. Imemachua 7 days. Baada ya kumachua 7 days, tunasaviwa na court papers jana asubuhi kuelekea kotini. Hiyo ni kumaanisha nini? Gavana mwenyewe anaelewa kwamba yale amewatendea wananchi wa Nairobi si haki.
However, leaders allied to the embattled governor claimed the intervention by President Uhuru Kenyatta over the weekend had resolved the standoff.
We were looking for this day actually, and we thought that that motion would be dead on arrival today. We had the numbers, we had the communication from the president, and today was our best day.
President Kenyatta, who initiated the takeover last week, met city MCAs in a bid to stop the impeachment. It is, however, unclear why the president, so keen on cleaning up the capital, would go ahead to campaign against Sonko's impeachment days after witnessing the national government's takeover.
By the relevant
in the Senate, members of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee vowed to discuss the takeover, despite Speaker Ken Lusaka setting the matter aside. Nairobi County Assembly Speaker Beatrice Elachi told the House on Tuesday afternoon that the impeachment motion has been adjourned until the matter is heard in court. The position taken by the minority side of the County Assembly means that those opposed to the leadership of Governor Mike Sonko may wait a little bit longer before they can evict him from office. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Well, we definitely hope you've realized that here at NTV we endeavor to cover the issues that matter to you, the issues that affect your everyday life.
This Wednesday, we train our eyes on the state of the economy. We look at unemployment, the cost of living, and the business environment. And we ask, just where is the money? Have a look.
The expression, hakuna pesa, that's really the issue.
The biggest problem we have is that we've mismanaged our economy.
Tuko hapa karibu watu 3,000 na wanataka karibu 150 people. Tuko wengi na hakuna gas.
Wakati China inapigana na coronavirus, sisi tunapigana na unemployment.
Hii Kenya ni kuhama, tutahama ama tutaenda wapi? Tumechoka na tumechoka. Na hii ujumbe ifikie president.
Ni nini nyingine mnataka? Ni nini umekosa? Na kama umekosa ambia wa Kenya ile umekosa tukupatie.
Madness going on all over the place. If you carry goods from here to Kisumu, you will pay sales here, pay sales in Nakuru. By the time you get to Kisumu, there's no business you are doing.
We weaponized the fight against pending bills.
Team coverage coming up tomorrow night. Don't miss it. Time for a breather. Here's what's coming up next.
Government suspends flights from Italy to guard Kenya from deadly viruses. MPs' trip to New York, is called off.
Mombasa Port Sacco is an award-winning registered deposit-taking sacco offering financial solutions to its members ranging from long-term development loans, agricultural and business loans, Chama loans and numerous savings products with high returns. Mombasa Port Sacco is open to all. Join the award-winning sacco today and realize your dream.
Welcome home to Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Your own urban sanctuary. A lifestyle waiting for you just 20 kilometers from the CBD. A place to unwind and get your health and fitness goals attained. A secure place for your family. A place for your children to have fun. A place to enjoy a sundowner. Success just doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. Make the impossible possible. Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Your multi-bet is only trying to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Kiungulia na kuvimbiwa? Ino inatibu ndani ya sekunde 6 na inatuliza dalili 6 za kiungulia. Kwa hivyo unaweza kuburudika bila kikomo. Ino, tibu haraka kiungulia na tumbo kuvimba.
Welcome back. The government has suspended direct flights from coronavirus-hit Italy to Kenya.
This comes as the Speaker of the National Assembly cancelled a planned trip to New York by members of the National Assembly.
Naoma Sampao has more on this developing story.
The National Emergency Response Committee on Coronavirus says the suspension of flights from northern Italy is to protect Kenyans. Milan and Verona have a high number of direct chartered flights into Kenya, especially to the coast. Also suspended is a planned trip to New York by members of parliament. The MPs were scheduled to travel to New York for 11 days for the 64th session of the Commission on the Status of Women. This is because a case of a deadly virus has been confirmed in the American city. Meanwhile, members of the Joint Parliamentary Health Committee have accused the Cabinet Secretaries for Health, Transport and Interior of not treating the threat posed by corona with the seriousness it deserves. This is after the 3 CSs failed to appear before the committee to respond to queries. The Center for Disease Control says African countries have improved their capacity to deal with any eventuality.
We are confident that if a case were to appear today, Kenya will be able to identify it quickly and will be able to diagnose it quickly and will be able to contain it because isolation facilities are in place.
The problem of misinformation has been a deterrent to clear communication.
The biggest problem today with this coronavirus outbreak is misinformation. We have been working with member states, including Kenya, to build their capacity for risk communication, where correct communication is delivered in a timely manner.
Nearly 90,000 people have been infected with the coronavirus as the number of countries affected rises to over 60 countries with more than 3,000 reported deaths. The World Health Organization says there have been almost 9 times more COVID-19 cases reported outside China in the last 24 hours. Naoma Sampao, NTV.
People living with disability want the government ease their accessibility to resources and provide them with appropriate assistive devices for their varying mobility needs.
Speaking during the commemoration of the International Wheelchair Day, Labour Principal Secretary Nelson Marwa said that the government is planning to mainstream issues affecting the special group and decentralise services from national to county governments. 17
years later, the Persons Living with Disability Act has yet to be implemented. The Act says the persons with disability are entitled to barrier-free and disability-friendly environments to enable them access amenities.
Now, the 8th Building Bridges Initiative rally planned for this Saturday in Nakuru has been postponed to the 21st of March.
This comes amid reports of plans by a section of leaders to sabotage the meeting. Bridget Ngana has more.
Choosing to announce the revised date of the BBI rally in Nakuru through his Facebook page instead of a news conference expresses the sheer sensitivity that has clouded preparations for the rally. The mood at a funeral service attended by the Deputy President last week in Nakuru, perhaps laying ground for the current developments.
Me, I'm not for BBI. Wakati wewe utaimba BBI mkiwa na rais, mtuita mkutano, we shall be there. Hawa viongozi wote wanaongea, ni Raila anaongea.
Nakuru is deemed as a central spot for political decisions in Kenya and a stronghold of the Deputy President who commands the Rift Valley. Political analysts, however, are wary of the trend the BBI rallies have taken.
This responsibility rests squarely at the door of the President of the Republic of Kenya, who has the power, who has the state machinery, who controls to a bigger extent state violence in terms of the national security apparatus. He must bring everybody on board.
The March 21st BBI rally in Nakuru will combine all the Rift Valley counties now that the North Rift chapter that was to be held in Eldoret has been called off. Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui has assured attendants of their security come 21st.
If you know you don't stand for unity, if you don't stand for coexistence, this will be the wrong venue for you.
But observers are not buying the unity narrative.
Otherwise, as it is, we are going to have a very divisive process going forward if we are going to go into a referendum. This country will be more fractured. This country is going to be more divided. This country is going to be split right in the middle. This is what we wanted to cure through the Building Bridges Initiative.
While Saturday's BBI Nakuru convention has been postponed by a week or so, it is hoped that by then the leaders who seem to be on different turfs at the moment will have connected the bridges that seem to divide them. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru County.
From the BBI politics, let's get down to the real business of the day. Julian Amboko joins us with that.
Many thanks, Mark and Smriti. Right, we're getting down to business and focusing on matters monetary policy coming up in the world of business. We tell you about the central bank's latest plan to cushion the shilling from volatility. More on the business news.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute, boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
New Blue Band Peanut Butter. Made with 100% pure peanuts. And a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with New Blue Band Peanut Butter.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology, to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
This is the only name in business. Welcome, I am Julian Amboko. Over the next 4 months, the Central Bank of Kenya will be mopping up dollars from the market in a bid to enhance its preparedness to cushion the shilling from volatility. This comes at a time when fears around the spread of the COVID-19 virus have rattled global markets, with the Nairobi Securities Exchange 20-share index falling to a multi-year low late last week. In its Banking Circular number 2 of 2020, addressed to the chief executive officers of all commercial banks, the Central Bank of Kenya has announced that it intends to purchase up to $100 million, or about 10.3 billion shillings each month between March and June 2020. The central bank says this move is aimed at bolstering its reserve of foreign currency to go above the normal levels so as to enhance its preparedness to deal with any volatility in the global foreign exchange market. The reserve of foreign currency stands at $8.4 billion, accounting for a little over 5 months of import cover, well above the 4.3 months threshold. The shilling has been stable since the start of the year, strengthening to a high of 100.35 units to the US dollar on February 5th, 2020, and weakening to a low of 101.59 units to the dollar on January 10th. In October 2019, the central bank published a study on the exchange rate in Kenya covering the period between 2014 and 2017, in which it concluded, among other findings, that the shilling was undervalued against major currencies. The statement from the central bank, dated March 2nd, 2020, and signed by CBK's Director of Financial Markets, William Nyagaka, has invited commercial banks to participate in the planned purchase of US dollars. And elsewhere, President Uhuru Kenyatta has asked donor agencies to reallocate unutilized resources to complete ongoing projects across the country. He said this during a meeting with development partners and donor agencies, including the World Bank, the European Union, and a number of ambassadors and high commissioners. The development partners assured the president of continued support to tackle the desert locust invasion and the threat posed by the global outbreak of coronavirus. The meeting was attended by the head of public service, Joseph Kinyua, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who heads the cabinet subcommittee on development. The president expressed satisfaction with the progress in the implementation of a framework to coordinate the external development support in the country. And on to matters agriculture. Barely a week after President Uhuru Kenyatta received the Sugar Task Force report, a section of cane farmers from Diwa Kodo in Homa Bay County are urging the state to intervene in accelerating the purchase of produce by millers. The farmers say slow uptake has undermined their economic well-being, something they hope implementation of the task force report can address. The report proposes privatization of public millers, among other issues, such as the reintroduction of the sugar levy.
Shida ambayo tumekuwa naye na kampuni ya shukari ni kukata miwa. Kama saa hii tuna watoto ambao wanaenda shule. Kuna wenye wajakatiwa miwa kutoka mwezi wa 10 mpaka sasa.
We are demanding, because it is really affecting the sugarcane farmer, that the importation should be totally controlled.
Shida yetu mkubwa ni bei. Kesho bei iko juu, kesho bei iko chini. Serikali asitusaidie. Hii bei ya kwenda juu, kesho bei iko chini.
As the oil marketers industry experiences consolidation with mergers and acquisitions and competition tightens, players are scouting for strategic partnerships to gain an edge. In the latest arrangement, Total Kenya has partnered with quick service franchise AutoFast to avail car maintenance services. The partnership seeks to provide automotive parts, batteries and tires and lubricants through the Total Quartz range. Last week, Ruby Energy subsidiary Kenei Kobil acquired Gulf Energy, a move aimed at cementing its position in the local market.
We have managed to open 4 sites currently in operations, all located in strategic areas within Nairobi to maximize convenience and creating value for each and every customer.
We're creating value of proximity. We're also bringing high quality car services, car maintenance services that is affordable to the customer.
Report. And that's it from the business desk, but still ahead in the bulletin. Pomp and color on World Wildlife Day, but the concern of the fast disappearing roan antelope pushes authorities to act. More after the break with Mark and Smriti.
Together stay free whatever ends. No, we can't stop. We wanna taste the feeling. Nothing can ever bring us down. Taste the feeling.
What do you see on the horizon? They say how you start your decade will determine how the rest of it will be. Imagine a decade full of opportunities, investment being one of them. Do you want a place to feed your mind, body and soul? A place to unwind every day, where you can get your health and fitness goals attained. A secure place for your family. A center for quality academic goals for your kids. Or perhaps a place to connect with your friends. Well, you can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace, just 20 kilometers from the CBD. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Welcome back. The government has announced a grand recovery and action plan aimed at restoring populations of endangered wild animals in the country. Speaking during the celebrations to mark the World Wildlife Day, Tourism and Wildlife CS Najib Balala notes that among the animals targeted for conservation is a rare roan antelope whose population, they say, is 12 nationwide.
Okusa has more.
The celebrations for the 2020 World Wildlife Day was marked with pomp and color at the Ruma National Park. But even as they danced to the catchy traditional tunes of Kochia dancers, the plight of the endangered roan antelope played on their minds.
If immediate and urgent intervention is not implemented now, the species will be locally extinct. And we estimate this will happen in the next 5 years.
One objective of the National Recovery and Action Plan is to restore an initial viable roan antelope population to at least 50 individuals by the year 2023 and maintain a minimum growth rate of at least 5% per year thereafter.
Although we have quite a number of other endangered species, we have the gravy zebra in Samburu, which also endangered. There are only 2,400. We have the Hirola antelope in Garissa, which is 400 of them remaining. And very interesting, we have the Rothschild giraffe, which is very much endangered in this country. We only have 625 of them, and 295 are available in Ruma National Park.
The decline of roan antelope has been attributed to several factors, including habitat shrinkage due to human activities and settlements, poaching, predation, effects of climate change, and frequent fires. There are an estimated 76,000 roan antelope remaining in Africa, with 1/3 of these concentrated in 4 countries: Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Zambia, and Tanzania. Okusa, NTV.
All right, the world is indeed marking World Wildlife Day today. Stay with us. The sports is coming up in just a moment.
Eldora Technical Training Institute (ETTI) prides itself as a student-centered institution committed to nurturing and growing careers. Enrollment for May and September intakes is ongoing. Apply now. Eldora Technical Training Institute. Growing reputation.
Swaddling needs a blanket and helps your baby feel safe and secure as she adjusts to life outside the womb. Spread your baby's blanket out on a flat surface. Place your baby face up on the blanket. Their head should sit above the folded corner. Straighten your baby's arms, then take the sides of the blanket and wrap it over their arms and chest. Loosely twist the bottom of the blanket and tuck it underneath your baby. At this point, your baby is fully covered.
Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Bye diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
Your multi-bet is only trying to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Discover the all-new Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Lotion, specially formulated with Nivea's Deep Moisture Serum and Africa's Natural Cocoa for 48-hour deep moisture. Glowing, radiant skin with nourishing cocoa lotion from Nivea. Get 48-hour deep moisture from the new range of Nivea body lotions.
Molfix breathable surface developed with Airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
NTV Sport in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
And a very good evening to you. I'm Sean Carter-Villis with the latest sports news. Now, the Kenya Rugby Union must tell us what their plan for Shujaa is. These are the words of former Kenyan international Charles Carter-Villis, who, along with other stakeholders, is baffled with the hot and cold performances of the national sevens rugby team in the World Series this season. Midway through the World Rugby Sevens series, and the national sevens rugby team's performance is raising concern amongst rugby stakeholders.
I am just totally baffled at what we're doing and how we're running the game. We're chopping and changing every year. I mean, you look at all the other teams, there's some sort of consistency.
Shujaa lie 11th in the series standings with 29 points, having only made the main quarterfinals once in 5 attempts.
When you wear the shirt, that is the Kenya shirt, you become the property of the nation. Expect the drama to come with it. Yeah? You wear the shirt, people are going to hold you accountable for the performance. That's just how it is.
World Cup winning Paul Feeney of New Zealand was named head coach in September, just 1 month before last year's Safari Sevens, where Kenya's second side Moran stunned South Africa 19-14 to lift the title. However, Feeney seems to be struggling to find the winning formula.
The bulk of the responsibility must lie with the administrators of the game, the people that are running the game at the union. I mean, what is their plan, to be honest, you know? Can they tell us why they brought in Feeney? What was the idea behind that? No, nothing against him.
So what's most frustrating for the fans is not necessarily that Kenya Sevens is playing badly. It's just that the team is blowing hot and cold. You don't know which Kenya Sevens is showing up for a game. Coach Feeney has claimed that he's building a team for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics.
It's mental, and sometimes I think we are not ready to bite the bullet. It's time for some players to go.
Shujaa will face Cape Town and Hamilton Sevens winners New Zealand, Ireland and Spain in Pool C at the Vancouver Sevens this weekend. Now, the national women's football team is in Turkey for the Turkish Women's Cup, having left Nairobi early Tuesday morning. The international invitational tournament is expected to provide much-needed exposure for the new-look Harambee starlets ahead of upcoming continental duties. Ida Waringa reports.
Early Tuesday morning, and the national women's football team take their first steps towards qualification for the 2020 Africa Women's Cup of Nations. The Harambee Starlets jetting off to the Turkish Women's Cup that will see the Starlets, who narrowly missed out on Tokyo 2020 Olympics qualification, do battle with various national teams as they prepare for the upcoming 2020 Auckland qualifiers. In Turkey, for their fourth international assignment in 4 years, the Starlets will face off with Northern Ireland on Wednesday, Chile on Saturday, and Uzbekistan next Tuesday.
We qualified for the Women's Cup of Nations in 2016, and we went to prepare in Spain in the Cotif tournament.
With several of the players from the squad that won the 2019 CECAFA Championship having bagged professional stints abroad, the squad has a new look to it. Among the 5 debutants called up is Chapadimbana Safaricom emerging teenage star Jane Jerry. For experience, coach David Ouma will bank on Dorcas Shikobe, Mwana Halima Adam and Gentrix Shikangwa. After doing duty in the Turkish Cup, Kenya will take on familiar foes in Tanzania in the 2020 Auckland qualifier next month.
Ndio timu inaenda kujiandaa poa. Hiyo ni zoezi poa.
Juu tunapata na timu at least kubwa kubwa. Tuko na game na TZ, so unaona TZ at least ni marika yetu, vile tutacheza huko ndio itadetermine kama tutakula TZ ama itakuwaje.
The winner of the Kenya versus Tanzania tie will play either DR Congo or Sao Tome and Principe in the second and final qualifying round. Ida Warenga, NTV.
The National Paralympics team jetted home from Morocco, where their journey to qualify for the Tokyo Paralympic Games continued. Meanwhile, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, NOC, has weighed in on the threat of the coronavirus in this year's Olympic Games.
The National Paralympic contingent jetting back from the Tokyo 2020 Africa Zone qualifiers held in Morocco, having finished second behind the hosts with 21 African teams taking part. Kenya bagged 23 medals, among them 9 gold in 20 events. The last qualifying round is scheduled to be held in France.
Hakuna shida yoyote, kama ni pesa tuko nazo, kama ni uniform tuko nazo. So tunashukuru serikali.
Meanwhile, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, NOC, has spoken regarding the coronavirus, which many fear may result in the cancellation of the world's most important sports event.
The issue of coronavirus, we are getting updates from IOC. We are getting updates from Tokyo 2020.
Warote Kiru, NTV.
Now, the race for the FKF repeat elections is shaping up, with the FKF Electoral Board having published the final list of delegates. But that has been met with resistance, with a host of stakeholders disputing the process, calling it a sham. Brian Otwell takes a look at the rocky road currently facing Kenyan football management.
The Football Kenya Federation appears focused on moving on with its election process as planned. The 2-day window set by the FKF Electoral Board to submit disputes regarding the nominated delegates for the forthcoming elections came to an end today. The board published the final list of delegates ahead of the county polls set for March 14th and the national polls scheduled for March 27th.
We want to assure the country that we are taking this process very, very seriously. And we want to ensure that it's going to be transparent and a very, very open process.
The football elections have been rocked by uncertainty, with the Sports Dispute Tribunal ruling on the same, set for March 17th.
We cannot have another election exercise because it is not necessary. To do so, we are dragging Kenya into a quagmire of elections that we do not need, because there's a clear leadership and there's clear political support.
Under the new football laws, the county and not the sub-branch is the base of football representation in the country. 7 of the 10 aspirants seeking the National Executive Committee positions are unopposed, while 36 out of the 48 aspirants vying for the positions at the county level are also unopposed.
Sasa wewe kama rais ukisema kwamba unataka sisi tulete stakabadhi zetu tuweze kugombania, na huku umetuwekea sheria kwamba nyinyi kwa sababu hamkuwa katika federation kwa miaka mitatu then hamqualify. Sasa una expect vipi upinzani? Kwa sababu huo upinzani ambao wanaotaka sio upinzani, sisi tunataka upinzani wa haki.
Meanwhile, the clock ticks towards the end of March deadline issued by the Football World Governing Body FIFA. Brian Otwal, NTV Sport.
And finally, Chelsea take on Liverpool at 10:45 p.m. tonight as teams continue their hunt for an FA Cup quarter-final slots ahead of Wednesday's draw. Last night, Arsenal put aside their Europa League exit disappointment to cruise into the quarter-finals with a 2...
NTV Sport in association with MozartBet. SMS NTV to 29990.
Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, thank you, Sean Cartervilles and the sports team for wrapping it up for us. We're done here, but not quite from the whole entire news team because...
Sidebar is coming up next. Ken Majungu is hosting a panel discussion on the crisis in the north, and the discussion will shed light on what's happening in the northeast and also touch on the legislator's visit to Somalia, why and if the Foreign Affairs Ministry is angry, and what could possibly have been the benefit of that trip.
Professor Peter Kagwanja of the Africa Policy Institute, former presidential advisor Abdul Qadir Mohammed, and the Horn of Africa expert Rashid Abdi will be on Sidebar tonight, straight after this bulletin in a few minutes. Here's a snippet.
We thought it wise to engage our neighboring country, Somalia, so that we can be able to attend to the issues of insecurity which is affecting our common boundary.
In the relations between countries, when senior citizens begin to behave in a certain way, it is called treason.
We met with His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, our president, and he challenged us as well, saying, go back to your people, go and knock every door, and please help in bolstering security.
Our government relocates the people who are illegally in our border, armed soldiers, which are numbering 100 plus.
Half of Mandera town has now been deserted.
This is where the real conversation happens.
That's coming up in just a moment. Thanks to our sign language interpreter, David Agondoa. That's where we leave it. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Good night.
I'm Pasai. Good night.
This is NTV.
I help women find independence by training